Jacoby Brissett is the Arizona Cardinals starting quarterback going forward inside the end of the Kyler Murray era with Johnny Venerable, Brack. Johnny, it's the beginning of the end, isn't it, my friend?
It is disappointing for Cardinal fans, but at the same time, it was the only decision that this regime could make. On a Victory Tuesday starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends, our dear friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier, #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. It's a Victory Tuesday. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Bo Brack, fresh off damn near a red eye out of Arlington, Texas. We got Noah Man behind the mic. Full transparency. Bo's on no sleep. I did 6 hours of live on-air content yesterday, but we are here. We kicked around 3 different show titles. Cardinals Victory Tuesday, trade deadline, and then, oh, by the way, Kyler Murray has been benched. Bo, how are we feeling? Are you caffeinated?
I am heavily caffeinated, and yeah, we are not short on storylines. That's right. The win, the emphatic win yesterday, but then just about an hour ago in Tempe, Jonathan Gannon announcing that Jacoby Brissett was going to hold on to the reins, quarterback one. We're going to get all into it, of course. This show brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app today. Use the code PHNX365. Deposit $10, bet $5, and get $200 in bonus bets with Bet365. Love to see everybody in the chat. Everybody fired up with their own opinion, their takes. They're locked and loaded. AZ Moses, Sports Hero, Mike dropping some supporter emojis. You got Arizona Cardinals jokes, the Canadian Cardinal dropping the emojis as well. Deb, Schaff, Luke Hoffman. That's right. Nick, I see everybody. We're going to let your voice be heard as well. Get off some insight that we have you can only find here on PHNX Cardinals.
We're bringing the boom here on a Tuesday. And here's what we're not going to do. Because Bo and I did an emergency pod on Saturday when very much felt like this was not trending in the direction of Kyler Murray playing again for this franchise. It's taken a few days for some other folks here locally to catch up to that. We're going to talk about the game last night because there's a lot of good stuff. And this is obviously a monumental day for this franchise officially ending the Kyler Murray era. It's a precursor to what we believe is an eventual trade, maybe an outright release, but hopefully a trade that makes both parties happy in the offseason. But like, the Cardinals have some mojo right now, and they had a really strong performance last night, not only by Brissett, but by the rookie class, second, third-year players. So we're gonna talk about that. So anybody at home thinking about like this is just gonna be 90 minutes of Kyler Murray, like Kyler Murray, we're leading with him today because it's important, and we're jumping into that. First and foremost, Bo, you were in Tempe just an hour ago. You sat face to face with the head coach Jonathan Gannon, who kind of didn't show his hand yesterday, but, nothing changed. I think they showed their hand when everybody thought this time last week Kyler Murray was going to start, and then Jacoby Brissett played. The minute that you and I knew that Jacoby Brissett was going to play, number one, anybody with a pulse could say, like, well, he'll have success against Dallas. And number two, it's like, Kyler Murray sure looks good running around the practice field, and he's not starting. He's throwing to backups. Remember, it was this time last week where Bo put out a tweet saying, Kyler Murray's throwing to backups, and other people are like, it's also starters. And it's like, no, it's not also starters. It's backups. And now Kyler Murray, he finds himself as a backup to Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, and does he ever move from that spot? And is it even a backup spot? Because is he ever going to be active on game day? Is he ever going to truly be QB2 duties? You would think probably not. From a business sense, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So the Cardinals, on the heels of that victory last night, as you pointed out, like Jacoby Brissett has had probably the most successful 3-game run of his 10-game career and has kind of he outplayed Kyler Murray, no doubt about it. And this offense operating and producing unlike it has this season, and finally is able to cash in with a win over the Dallas Cowboys. And was that the exclamation point? Was that what got it done? I don't think so. I think this was just going to trend this way regardless, and Jacoby was going to hang on to it. But after last night, when Gannon was pressed on it, and he said nothing's changed, and I don't have anything more to say on that topic as far as Kyler Murray holding on to the starting quarterback role, I think he understood with the mojo from a win and just going forward, it wasn't going to benefit them in any capacity to continue this kind of charade that Kyler Murray could be QB1 and that could be imminent at some point. They've created more runway. Let's just go to the tape, I guess, with JG today opening up his press conference.
As it relates to the quarterback in Seattle, Jacoby will start, and Kyler will keep working on his health bucket. I do like what the offense is doing right now. We've operated well, and we'll go from there.
For those who don't know, Johnny, like the bucket thing, like there's 5 buckets. Like that's like 5 tenets of the organization under Gannon, and health and football, and all these different things go into this. And that's just all he's saying with the health bucket, basically saying, Kyler Murray needs to continue to get healthy. But as conversation grew on, as reports came from Schefter, from Rappaport, from Pelissaro, Schefter, Pelissaro echoing this, that Kyler has had his foot looked at by multiple doctors, and it has been diagnosed as anything from a 4-week, where we're at right now, to 8-week injury. And I think that creates a little bit more runway and being able to maybe table this with Jacoby Brissett being kind of tab starter going forward.
So let's walk everybody through what you and I spoke about off air and what we envision is going to happen, because we brought this up Saturday. And I was always of the mindset, okay, Jacoby will play until maybe runs into a bad game. Then they'll be like, okay, Kyler Murray's back in. That's not happening. I think right now, the biggest question, and we're going to talk about it, is with Jacoby, is this sustainable? Because as much as people want to come out, and there are people who are anti-Kyler Murray, and I think there's a difference certainly between critical of Kyler Murray, his statistics this year, maybe a ceiling with this offense, and just outright disliking Kyler Murray. And you're going to find a lot of gray areas right now. I'm at the point where we felt like there was a ceiling. Now, if you want to argue the offense, pet scene, whatever, they never ran play action under center. They are now the number 1 play action team under center in the NFL. It's just, they almost ran it 60% of the time last night with Jacoby Brissett. So take that for what it's worth.
Right.
The Cardinals right now are going to start Jacoby Brissett the rest of the season. At no point, barring injury, fluke, garbage, will Jacoby Brissett not be the starter. So what does that mean for Kyler Murray? Their best case right now, and I expect this to happen, is for him to go on injured reserve. And they will frame it around the foot. And by the way, his foot's good. I think he could probably pass a physical, maybe, but he also doesn't want to push it to the point where, as Schefter pointed out, injures it more. And it's the case for anything, playing on a hamstring, you could tear your ACL. There are layers to this, and there's minutia being happening in the media right now.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler, the Cardinals, everybody is playing the game, as you saw. Rap Sheet and Schefter had those tweets out at the exact same time.
Oh, yeah.
Cardinals are calculating this, and rightfully so, because the Cardinals want to be able to keep Kyler Murray's value to the point where they can trade him in the offseason. I can't tell you definitively, nor can Bo, if that's going to happen. I think we're at a 50-50 shot that they either have to outright release him or they can find a suitor.
Yeah.
Right? But regardless, what happens if they play him in December, in end of November, right? There's a risk of injury. And what happens with an injury? He's an immovable player. They have to sit and eat that money tenfold. So the juice is not worth the squeeze. They've made their commitment. Gannon doubled down on it, said that this is not a health issue. But they also want to do Kyler right. And the best thing for Kyler Murray, Bo, as you outlined off air, is put him on injured reserve so he's not on the practice field to injure himself. And then everybody gets a reset until the new league year when you can hopefully find a trade partner. That's where this is heading right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done, though.
Yeah. And look, the quarterback contracts, especially under the new CBA and how we've seen those evolve, and we've seen them go, well, and then we've seen them go south. There's been catastrophic contracts. Sean Watson, you've got Russell Wilson. There's a sliver of a chance that they can save face here. You can find an organization that feels like Kyler Murray is an untapped resource asset that they could bring in. I think it's more likely that you're staring down more of a Russell Wilson situation, no matter how well you play, these next 9 weeks, as far as it pertains to Kyler Murray, and trying to just kind of save this product, this quarterback, and show him as a viable option for a quarterback hungry team. So, like, as things have evolved, like you've seen it play out, and there's precedents set all along the way. Sure, there's been trades, and those have been kind of disastrous, right? Carson Wentz comes to mind, but then there's been successful ones like Jared Goff, but then there's been the bad ones in Russell Wilson. So the Cardinals are in a tough spot, and nobody, I think, envies them to be in this spot. The good thing is they have a quarterback that's playing at a high level. I think Kyler Murray understands that Jacoby Brissett's playing at a high level. Seeing how he's opening up the downfield passing attack and getting guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson and Zay Jones, and continuing to find Trey McBride in the end zone, that it would be maybe perceived as him being a bad teammate to disrupt that. So for this to continue under a guise of the injury and keeping it as that soft benching is probably for the best of all parties.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this year is done. Like, we have our answer now. And I think that's kind of what's been speculated the last month, right? And Jacoby Brissett is playing top 12 quarterback in the NFL right now. But everybody is waiting. We're waiting for the other shoe to fall. They're playing a top 5 defense in Seattle this weekend. We're going to go through Jacoby Brissett's timeline here and see if the Cardinals may have caught lightning in a bottle or not, right? And that's not Jacoby Brissett's fault. But I just feel like we've been very consistent with this take. Had Kyler Murray not gotten injured, he would have been the starter all 17 games. They would not have benched him for Jacoby Brissett. He had an injury that knocked him out for a week. Jacoby Brissett has come in and reinvigorated this passing game with not a running game to complement it, with no James Conner, with no Trey Benson. And, I mean, you could argue he's played well enough to be 3-0. And again, that's not an indictment of Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray didn't fumble the DeMercado play. He didn't drop the Zay Jones pass. I think you can have two conversations about, like, yeah, this is an unfortunate way for the Kyler Murray era to end, while also I think anybody not giving Jacoby his due credit, and there are very few people doing that's disingenuous to Jacoby Brissett, who's 32 years old and playing the best football of his life right now. And maybe, hopefully, the Cardinals have captured lightning in a bottle in the perfect scheme with the perfect playmakers to try to keep this franchise above water. But we have our solution right now. I believe Kyler Murray will end the year on injured reserve to protect the asset. He's an asset to protect him. Is it a tradable asset? They are going to have to do a lot of legwork. There's going to have to be a lot of turnover where quarterbacks falter, new quarterback, head coach, GM combinations emerge in the offseason, right? I saw somebody tell me, like, well, Geno Smith got a 3rd-round pick. Well, Geno Smith didn't have an injury concern. Geno Smith consistently was able to operate in a conventional offense. We've seen Kyler Murray, to have success right now, has to have an offense tailored to him. Like, I don't think that can be disputed now. So it's not as easy as plug and play. It's a big reason why I think you and I both agree that he didn't get dealt today on top of his contract.
Right.
And then the contract was also an issue. Geno Smith had minimal guarantees left. I think he was on, like, basically what equated to a 1-year deal. He wanted a new deal from Seattle. So I just, I would be careful, Cardinal fans who are of the mindset that this is going to come back in the form of a high draft pick. I think it's a coin flip. I think the Cardinals, frankly, would take what they could get for some cap relief because, Bo, we discussed it on Saturday. They would have to take on, and he's not going to be on the team regardless. They would have to take on about $40 million of dead money for 1 year in 2026. Then they're done. They're basically out of it, but they'll have 1 year of significant dead money next season.
Yeah. Jacoby Brissett not making a ton of money gives you the ability to navigate that, circumvent that. And then everybody would believe that they're going to be players for a quarterback in the 2026 draft.
100%.
And you get that rookie contract, that rookie scale contract.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
The best case scenario has no longer been Kyler gets back from this foot injury. He regains his starting role, finds himself in Drew Petzing's offense, or makes it to the next offensive coordinator. That's all done. I think this is the end of the Kyler Murray era. And the last time we're going to have watched him suit up, take the field, was in a catastrophic loss to the Tennessee Titans, where a ball snapped off of his face mask and it resulted in his foot getting injured, sending him to the bench, as you outlined. Brissett probably doesn't find his way onto the playing field outside of that, outside of a couple, times where you see the backup go into the game. But now we've reached a point where the team's lack of success up until last night, and then Jacoby Brissett, though, unlocking and finding a way to be productive in this offense. It's just it's been a perfect storm to just kind of rain down on and end the Kyler Murray era here in the Valley.
I think you can be disappointed that it didn't work out, but also feel good about the fact that the role players, bigger than that, the skill players on your roster suddenly look viable again. We talked about it on the postgame show. People were dogging Michael Wilson the entire offseason. Suddenly, he looks incredibly competent. He was tremendous last night. That 50-yard catch and run and a nice turn play for a first down. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., it's been one game. I do think Marv would have had a big game in Indy had he not gone out with a concussion. But
yeah,
Marvin Harrison Jr. with Jacoby Brissett just looks different right now. Now they have to sustain that. We're going to talk about Marv, but I know Drew Petzing probably has a big sigh of relief, and that's a four-letter word to some people, and he's got to be able to get through these 9 games unscathed. I think his spot is still very much up in the air. But if you're a Cardinal fan, I think it's in everybody's best interest to root for Jacoby Brissett to continue to have success so that this team has options. Because right now, if Jacoby Brissett not been playing well and Kyler Murray's injured or he's middling around, that this would be trending toward a complete teardown. Look at the teams around the NFL. Do you want to be the Jets today that are selling their fan base on 2027 draft picks? And poor Aaron Glenn's probably going to be yet another fall guy. And the Saints are trading off players. Like the Cardinals are suddenly a very viable offense with Jacoby Brissett. And if that performance last night was any indication, the defense has come alive with a couple additions. We're going to see what happens. They have a very difficult task this weekend, but I think this is a Jacoby Brissett story more than a Kyler Murray story. And unfortunately, Jacoby Brissett has probably shined some light on Kyler Murray and some deficiencies that he has had with this offense. And the Cardinals are opting to go with the latter as a result.
As far as what went into the offensive struggles, lose the run game, Clayton Adams, to the Cardinals' credit, defensive front, like they dominated the line of scrimmage. They controlled it against Adams, who we've given his flowers, a lot this season because of the success that Dallas had up until the last 2 weeks. But all those things kind of falling by the wayside that were success stories the first 2 years for the Cardinals offensively played into, I think, the downfall of Kyler Murray and you seeing pedestrian to below average performance from this offensive. But like your point is very valid and big here as far as the 4th overall pick, which huge investment there. Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, the story yesterday with Marvin Harrison Sr. talking to Josh Weinfuss in ESPN and saying this offense was unwatchable for him. He can't talk to his son about football, a game that he's a Pro Football Hall of Famer for, a champion. He can't talk to his son who's this prodigy. And they finally get it. They've gotten it going. They got it. Mar was on full display. He had a rival type performance against the Cowboys in prime time. Yet Trey McBride doing things that Trey McBride hasn't done, and he's had an unbelievable run lately. He's got 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season. Like he's got 4 in the last 3 weeks, Johnny. He had 2 the previous 21 weeks with Kyler Murray in at quarterback. So Jacoby Brissett is finding ways to do it that do things that Kyler wasn't able to do under Petzing. He wasn't able to do really outside of that 2021 season where we saw an MVP caliber season up until the injury occurred in that year. So, and we're going to get into this Brissett thing because I think it's really interesting because what do we think about Jacoby Brissett, the quintessential backup in 2025? Is he more than that? Has something clicked for Brissett? Is this just something where this guy is going to have a career resurgence or renaissance at 32 years old? So there's so many different things at play here, more so than just a switch of QB1 and the end of an era of 7 seasons of drafting a guy number 1 overall and thinking that can he be the franchise guy?
We'll have more time to talk about Kyler Murray. And again, I think the narrative is going to continue to change. But right now, again, would just press upon everybody that it's a very reasonable scenario to expect that the Cardinals just have to outright release Kyler Murray in the offseason. We'll see what manifests. We're going to get to what Benjamin Albright tweeted out. And Bo, as you mentioned, we're going to talk Jacoby Brissett, his timeline. Could this be another Geno Smith resurrection in his early 30s? That's coming up. It's PHNX. I'll tell you what's coming up. Golden, our friends at Branded Bills. I'm rocking a lid right now. It's the hat wear for PHNX. And frankly, everywhere I go here in the Valley, it's the cap of choice. It's because it's elite and you can start your custom headwear today, whether it's a snapback, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees. Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. They've got partnerships with 40 universities, including ASU, U of A, part of their campus collection. They've also partnered with the Phoenix Suns. Ever heard of them? Locally operated here in Mesa, Arizona. Head to brandedbills.com. We're going to hook you up right now, 15% off your first order. BB, that's BB, PHNX, 15% off. Check out Branded Bills today.
I was on the way to Dallas. I was rocking many of the items of clothes that I got from our friends over at Mack Weldon. It's classic, breathable pieces that feel like vacation when you're going on vacation. If you're going on a business trip like I was, you're going to look good. You're going to feel good. It's effortless style with comfort that's going to last in any season. It's not just flashy. It's classic. It's always in style and made from the world's best and most comfortable performance materials, from nice collared shirts to shorts to slacks to nice looking pants, things you could go out in, have a business meeting in, or actually go to the gym. And Mack Weldon's got something for all occasions. It includes the underoos, the skivvies, the underwear. I love it. I'm changing out of these Mack Weldon underpants. Of course, they got the cool technology. Go to MackWeldon.com. Get 25% off your first order, $125 or more with the promo code PHNX. It's MackWeldon.com, promo code PHNX.
We pulled up this chart last week, the comparison between K1 and Jacoby Brissett. Noah has since updated it. Here is the difference between the two quarterbacks in terms of their statistical standings in the NFL with this offense. Noah, man, let's see it. Kyler Murray, through 3 weeks, the Cardinals were 25th in passing in points per game, 18.8. Yards per game, 26. Passing yards per game, this is probably the most damning, 30th in the NFL. Down there with the slums of the Jets and the Titans. And then third down conversion, middle of the pack at 16%. With Jacoby Brissett, they have gone up a touchdown more per game. Yards per game, they've gone up 15 spots. They're averaging now, remember when they couldn't hit 300 yards total in a game? They're averaging almost 360 in the last 3 weeks. The passing yards per game have exploded. 170 to 256.3. It went down slightly last night because the Cardinals got conservative with Drew and ran the ball in the fourth quarter. The third down conversion, though, this is where Jacoby Brissett, the Renaissance man, continues to impress. This is the second straight week, Bo. He has been the best third down quarterback in the NFL. So again, I think you can nitpick Kyler Murray's stats, justified, but I think you look at Jacoby's statistics and it's like, this is real, is it not? This has to be, emphasized and showcased because we know backups can get hot. We know Colt McCoy once upon a time looked good, but the optics of what Jacoby Brissett is doing cannot be ignored, in my opinion.
No, and the play action pass and its emergence over the last couple of weeks because they feel like they can do it with Jacoby is helping and setting themselves up for success. But the third down conversion, like these aren't just like third and short, even though it's nice to see, Jacoby can push it through on the sneaks. But these are like third and long situations. Like on average, the Arizona Cardinals, they haven't been good on first and second down. So they're facing on average a third and long this season. And Jacoby Brissett's been able to go in there and just find a way to continue in drives. Like I saw there was more stats, Johnny, where the Cardinals, as far as their 3-and-out percentage under Jacoby Brissett and Kyler Murray, like it was 30% 3-and-out percentage with Kyler Murray in the lineup versus 13.8% with Jacoby Brissett. So Jacoby Brissett doing a great job in staying on the field, and that was tough, a little bit tough sledding in the fourth quarter last night. Actually, just tough sledding in fourth quarters in general for this team, no matter who's in at quarterback.
Right.
But the offensive giveaways per game, Kyler 1.2, 0.7 with Jacoby Brissett. So the numbers are there's a big disparity there between how the offense is operated. You can say, hey, that it's been a pass-first offense, and you're right by saying that. The yards per attempt are way just different.
Yeah.
It's a different offense under Brissett, and they don't have the luxury of, hey, we think Kyler can have the same success. We've heard that from Drew. We've heard that from Gannon, but they're 3-5. They were 2-5 going in the last night. Like you can't just go pull off some sort of experiment and try to say, well, maybe it could work. You got to go with what's working right now because your back's against the wall as far as the 2025 season goes.
Yeah, the numbers are too good to ignore. Jonathan Gannon would have been disingenuous to say otherwise, and he didn't. And we always felt like, even with what was happening in the media, like the Cardinals' actions on the practice field were telling you something different. So the press conferences have become kind of moot.
Sure.
But there's a human element to this, where it's like Jacoby has revitalized this offense. What are you just you're gonna pull him? Like I saw Bruce Arians, we were talking about it before the show today, basically saying like Bruce was pretty confident they were going to go back to Kyler Murray because of money. I'm like, wait, when does that ever work out? Why would that ever be the right decision in a room where emotions are running high, people are trying to save their job? Like, I can dislike Drew Petzing, the play caller. I've been disappointed with the year that he's had, but I can understand from a human element, like you've got one guy who is responding and one guy who is not a fit, and for whatever reason, it's not working out. It's like they deserve to play the guy that's producing the most for him. And one thing I've always applauded from Gannon's staff since they got here, and there hasn't been a ton of talent to do this with, is really didn't matter where your draft status was or how much you were being paid, especially as they inherited a lot of the Keim guys. The best players are going to play because this is a production business. And the Cardinals under Gannon being, almost 13 games under 500 going into last night, they didn't have a margin for error to be like, we're going to just slow roll Kyler Murray cold against Seattle. Like, no, that was never going to happen. Don't take anybody seriously that tells you otherwise. This is it. This is a byproduct of riding the hot hand, but at the same time admitting that the investment in Kyler Murray, the commitment to Kyler Murray has run its course. And for Gannon and Austin Ford, not to get, too like off topic here, Bo, but like we did shows on Radio Row in January of 2023 at the Super Bowl. This job was poison. Kyler Murray had signed his extension. He blew out his knee. I give credit to this regime for coming in here and trying to make it work. Could they have done things differently? Absolutely. In hindsight, you don't lose Clayton Adams. You probably make a couple of tweaks with offensive personnel. Mm-hmm. But Jonathan Gannon is the biggest Kyler Murray defender going. And this had to have been incredibly difficult for him. So I'm not surprised that this move happened. And I'm not surprised, Bo. I think this signals to both of us. They're going to get another season. They're going to be able to pick a quarterback in the draft. And then we'll see how this plays out if Jacoby Brissett certainly goes into the offseason as a starter or into 2026.
Yeah, it was admirable. It was what you and I viewed as the right move. There were some pivot opportunities based on salary cap and how they were tearing down the roster, and they weren't going to have a whole lot of committed money to the cap, and they could have pivoted off and taken one of the quarterbacks in the 2023 draft, right, or the 2024 draft, and they decided not to, even going into this offseason when you actually had options. I know some people, it was a polarizing option in Sam Darnold, but there were some options in the draft. There were some options in free agency, not a lot, but if you were aggressive, you could probably get your seat at a negotiation table, and they chose not to. They wanted to move forward and bring in just a top flight backup with Jacoby Brissett. And that turned out to be and give them an ability to kind of keep this season on life support. But yeah, no, I think you give a tip of the cap to him. I see like the chat's trying to figure out like where Bruce Arians was coming from with that take today on McAfee. And I was surprised by it. I mean, I think BA obviously knows this organization. When he was here and the general manager was Steve Keim, and you had a more involved Michael Bidwell, where I think Michael Bidwell, we know this for sure, like he gives way as far as the football operations to Austin Ford and Gannon. I don't know if it's full autonomy, but it's pretty damn close to it.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Jacoby Brissett. I had Noah put this together, Bo, because you think back, it's like, I know Jacoby Brissett, how he started his career, and then how you mentioned it, quintessential backup. But there could be something bigger here, as he was a top 100 pick once upon a time. No, man, let's see it. Drafted by Bill Belichick in the 3rd round. I remember that. I think NC State, maybe.
Yeah.
Was thrust into a quarterback room with Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady on teams with consistent Super Bowl expectations. Then in 2017, Andrew Luck had to have surgery and missed the entire season right before the season. So the Colts scrambled, traded for Jacoby Brissett, okay? And he was solid for them. He probably wasn't ready to start, right? And then Luck came back. He backed up Luck for a couple years, and then Luck abruptly retired, and he had to start again. But those were teams that were operated by Ryan Grigson. They had some talent, T.Y. Hilton. Their offensive lines were bad. And then since then, he has been very much your middling backup on, and you'll come to find this, folks, bad teams. 2021, he went 2-4 in relief of Tua when Tua and Brian Flores were feuding for the Miami Dolphins. And Flores was fired in January. Brissett moved on to, I don't know, the Deshaun Watson-led Cleveland Browns in 2022. Disaster. They go 4-7. Then the next year, he backs up Sam Howell under defensive head coach Ron Rivera with the Commanders. Everybody gets fired there. And then last year, Gerard Mayo, God love him, was a great player. He interviewed actually for the Cardinals opening once upon a time, was in over his head unequivocally last year with the Patriots. The offense was terrible. The skill players were worse. He led way for Drake May. Now he gets to the Arizona Cardinals, where he probably on paper is playing with the best combination of skilled players, maybe offensive coaching, we don't know, and then certainly offensive line play. It's clicking for him at 32. I'm not saying that this is sustainable. But I am saying, like, you can make an argument outside of maybe some years in Indianapolis without Bruce Arians, mind you. That was Chuck Pagano who got fired. Jacoby Brissett could be poised for his best run of success ever. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised by it.
Familiarity with this offense. I think when you look at that 2022 season when he relieved Watson, kind of a no-win situation, he had his best little stint. Like, he's had 3 games now for the Arizona Cardinals where he's gone over 250 yards passing.
Yeah.
He's had multiple touchdowns in the last 3 games. The only thing that kind of matches that in his career was during that. And his top target was it was Amari Cooper. When you look at these, like, the Patriots were always known for Tom Brady elevating the cast of characters around him. I mean, I'm sure he got a Gronk, he had an Edelman, but he wasn't exactly throwing to 6'4" playmakers, and just sure, he had the Gronk, and that can rival what he's got with McBride. But I think you are seeing a guy who's seen it all. He's been in all these systems. He's not a super athletic guy, but he can read the field. He knows what he's looking at from the defense. And he's got guys like Marv and Trey McBride, and then complementary players like Michael Wilson and Zay Jones that he's having an easy time just spreading the ball around and getting these guys involved.
I see some people throwing shade. And listen, that we're hyping up Jacoby Brissett. I see some people in here saying he won 1 game. For me, like, I can't help you if you're not watching the game and seeing the statistics, which are immense. Like, OptiStats had this stat this morning. Bo, I shared this with you.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett is the first quarterback to complete 65% of his passes or more, throw for 850 yards, throw for 6 touchdowns, and rush for a touchdown in his first 3 games with the team since Kurt Warner in 1999. Mm-hmm. This is not some, like, anomaly that just happens every year. And this, there's one of these every, like, what he's doing right now. Like, I think he's going to have a tough time in Seattle on Sunday because that's a great defense.
Yeah.
But, like, the rest of the year, I expect him to have games like he had last night. Like, right. I think he's seen enough in the NFL. He has enough experience. This league right now is a coaching quarterback skill player league. And for whatever reason, and this is where I'll give Drew credit, it's working right now with Jacoby. You could say, like, Drew is stringent and he should have tailored an offense around Kyler Murray. I'm not going to argue that. But for whatever reason right now, their passing game looks like one of the best in the NFL, and they're going to ride the hot hand. People are critiquing because it's Dallas. Kyler Murray played the Saints earlier this year, Titans, the Panthers, a bad Niner defense with no Nick Bosa. He left that game. The Cardinals couldn't do anything offensively. Right. So all we're doing, I'm not saying Jacoby Brissett is a top quarterback. You're asking us to compare what we've seen and what we have now. And what we have now with Jacoby Brissett is infinitely better. I mean, if you can't get on board after those statistics we put up, I can't help you. This is not some narrative anti-Murray propaganda. Like, this is about wins and losses and production. Yeah.
And look, I mean, I can't believe we have to spell it out more than this. I mean, I don't know if you could just put back up the stats. It's undeniable. This is undeniable, guys. This is not an indictment on Kyler. I think if you would listen to this show, watch this show while Kyler was in there were some games where the offense struggled and we thought Kyler had a good performance. Jacoby Brissett has outplayed him this season. That's a fact.
How can that be argued?
It's not argued. Somebody's, people saying it's typical, media trying to blame. We're not blaming him. The offense just looks better with Jacoby. That's just a fact. It's over a touchdown difference in points per game. It's 75 yards nearly difference as far as the yards per game. It's nearly 100 yards difference as far as the passing per game. And you got the number 1 third down conversion percentage.
Well, like, my pinned tweet on my Twitter is our interview with Kyler Murray. Right. We're Kyler Murray Pro Podcast. I hope he goes somewhere and has success. Here's what we're not going to do on PHNX Cardinals. Come on here and tell you one thing while believing something else. Come on here and disrespect your football IQ and your acumen. It's like, come on. The Cardinals are a better offense the last 3 weeks, and they're going to ride that out. And you can't deny that. But Kyler Murray, I see Brian in the chat saying Kyler didn't lose those games earlier this year. How many times have we repeated that on the show? Right. He didn't fumble the pass. Zay Jones dropped that ball. And again, Kyler Murray was not outright benched for poor performance.
Right.
Kyler Murray left the game, went to the medical tent, had a foot problem, which gave way for Jacoby Brissett to start, and he has not given that job back. It's like, if you want to consider Kyler Murray a C plus B minus quarterback this year, then Jacoby Brissett has come in and he's a letter grade better right now. Jacoby Brissett's numbers after 3 games against 2 top teams and a Dallas team that leaves a lot to be desired are projects as a better season than what Kyler Murray was projecting as based on those numbers alone. But again, this is about the big picture of the Arizona Cardinals. Like, the rest of the season is set. Jacoby's going to start. Kyler Murray is an investment that they have to protect so that they can trade him, if that's a possibility. You're not putting Kyler Murray out there, may or may not be compromised with a foot, not as productive as Jacoby this year for whatever reason, and just saying, you know what, go play Tampa. Go play the Rams. We'll just throw you out there. No, they're going to ride this out, and then they're going to reset in the offseason. But in the meantime, I don't know, they'd like to try to score more points per game. And I'm in support of that, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, 25 points, nearly 26 points per game with Jacoby in the lineup. Contract guaranteed if he's injured.
100%. He won't play again. He will not play again for this franchise.
Yeah. He's had the run that he's gone on here. Jacoby, and I saw somebody say that we're saying he's Kurt Warner. No, we're not. Kurt Warner, and we'll talk to Kurt tomorrow. Actually, he's joining the show as he does on Wednesdays.
Yeah,
we'll get his assessment of this the Cardinals' decision to move forward with Jacoby. But is Jacoby one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the league? Yes. There are a lot of guys that are starting games in this league. They're bad. Is he in the top 16? How he's playing right now? I think you can say that. I think he's a top half of the league playing quarterback right now, just how he's played. Now, can he continue it? What's the old adage about backups? They can win you 3 games and they can lose you 3 games. Is he going to turn back into a pumpkin? We'll see, but I see some things that are sustainable based on who he's surrounded by.
Right.
Have we seen inaccurate throws? Yeah, there were a couple of them. One could have been costly, where he missed Marv on 4th down. He missed the same game to him that cost him the game the previous week. You got to clean that up. And sometimes he's just going to be who he is at this point in his career. But he's showing the ability to push the ball downfield, find big play, explosives in the passing game, get everybody that they brought into this organization involved to make plays. So I'm fine with them riding with him in the interim. I'm not saying this is Kurt Warner, Carson Palmer 2.0, 3.0, or whatever you want to call it. This is a guy that's just playing good football that gives him the best chance to play productive offense right now.
This is the first time that they've had 3 200-yard passing games in a row with multiple touchdowns thrown since Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
I mean, just all these statistics are real. These aren't us making this up. This is just information that's out there. And then you look at the games and it's just man, they scored 27, left a lot of meat on the bone. Could have easily scored 35-40 last night. Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, Michael Wilson, this passing game is reinvigorated, and Jacoby Brissett's the reason why. We've got more breakdown. We're going to talk about last night. We're going to talk about one of the most impactful rookie debuts that either of us can ever remember. How do we contextualize what we saw from Walter Nolen? And do the Cardinals have a diamond in the 16th overall pick? That's coming up. Man, I'm fired up today. Fired up. And again, I love the energy. We got 700 people watching right now. We're going to hook you up with our friends at Bet365. They've got so much good stuff going on right now. They got the NBA tip-off Tuesday. Suns are a sneaky fun team, Phoenix Suns, but regardless of who you root for, do yourself a favor. Place a qualifying bet on tip-off Tuesdays with the safety net bet featuring the Tuesday NBA games. You're going to get $10 in bonus bets. So just use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. We also got another deal for new customers at Bet365. Get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, PHNX365, deposit 10, place a $5 bet. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, they can be used, bonus bets, that is, on spreads, totals, player props, futures, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary with Bet365. You got to be 21 years and older, physically located in Arizona. If you were someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text next step to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
It's always the smart thing to do your research after an accident or serious injury. And the lawyer that you hire, it's always going to matter as far as if you're going to get taken care of, if you're going to get obviously get compensated for your pain, your anguish. Mark and Alexis Breyer of the husband and wife law team, they're here for you with so much experience. They've raised their 8 children. They focus is always on clients' results and giving back to the community here in the Valley. Let's face it, serious injury, you want to hire the attorney that's focused on your best outcome, not how much money the firm makes. That's the husband and wife law team. The team brings hundreds of years of combined trial experience with multiple certified specialists in personal injury and wrongful death. Check them out. Great people. They're unreal. They're well known, not just for getting you wins in the courtroom and getting you compensated and also taking care of you just because they're good people overall, but they're hilarious. Their ads are always funny. Like, that's where I first kind of came across the husband and wife law team. If you're in need of an injury lawyer or you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team at 602-783-8841 and visit their website, husbandandwifelawteam.com. 602-783-8841 and husbandandwifelawteam.com.
Hit that like button. Get us to 1,000 likes here on the live stream. We talked about Kyler Murray. Let's talk about another first-round pick for this franchise. Walter Nolen, he was our X-Factor player of the game last night. In his debut, following a lengthy absence because of a hamstring injury. Walter Nolen, the 16th overall pick, 1 sack, 2 TFLs, 4 tackles, and a pass defense. But if you watch the game, it was much more than that. I encourage everybody, check out our guy, Brian Baldinger, who's going to join us on Thursday. His breakdown of Walter Nolen. The menace that he was at the line of scrimmage is probably putting it mildly. The fact that he freed up the likes of Josh Sweat to be able to close on Dak Prescott. You and I were talking off air, Bo. The most impressive rookie debut for any Arizona Cardinal is Anquan Bolden against the Detroit Lions in 2003. Over 200 yards receiving. I don't think that will be beat anytime soon. For a defensive player, and certainly for a defensive lineman, this is the most impressive rookie debut for an Arizona Cardinal player of my adult life. This position is so hard to stand out statistically. It's a lot of metrics. You have to look at the film. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, what is their record if he plays like that for the first 7-8 games of the season?
You're finding way off the field in those infamous fourth quarters that we had to just all live and struggle through,
right?
Those 5 weeks, right? Where, you know, you had Mac Jones making plays, you had Cam Ward making plays. You get a guy like Walter Nolen, who immediately in his first game plays 35 snaps, 37 snaps, 55% of the snaps in his debut after a layoff, basically not playing since his Ole Miss days. He comes in there and he's playing alongside Calais Campbell, and they're their best unit. They're as disruptive as possible. Calais at 39 had 2 sacks.
Right.
When Calais came in this league, Walter Nolen, by the way, was like 4 years old. And those guys are a wrecking crew.
Yeah.
It was an unreal debut. I'm with you. Not only did he have the sack, He had the TFL. That was a tone-changing play on the opening drive. And then he batted a ball down too. Like, he did it all. Like Walter Nolen, like, what can he be? You're still waiting to see on D-Rob, another first-round pick, plays a similar position, but you got to see it already in one game of play from Walter Nolen. It's got you excited because it took one of the best offenses in the league, Johnny, and they didn't score their first touchdown until when? The fourth quarter? It was an unreal performance from them. What he can add and how it just transforms what you can do up front. I mean, it benefited. You told me you were watching the Josh Sweat sacks. Who was helping out, get Sweaty J to the quarterback?
He was getting double teamed. He was splitting double teams. What was his comp? Or not his comp. I'm sorry. What was the player that he emulated at the combine and wanted to follow and wanted to chase? And everybody rolls their eyes,
right? Yeah,
right. And it was a simulcast at the combine. It was Aaron Donald. And I think they formed a relationship. They're semi-close off the field. I mean, that looked like it. And again, if he's like a 10th of Aaron Donald, this franchise, they have not had a defensive lineman drafted like that, coincidentally, since Calais Campbell. But Campbell sat his first year. He was a special teamer on the Super Bowl team. That is the missing piece for this franchise. And respectfully, like Darius Robinson, he's got 2 more years. The rest of this year, continue to grow and develop. Also, Darius Robinson was like a fringe first rounder. The consensus, and I saw a lot of people on Twitter taking a victory lap last night, Walter Nolen was a top 10 prospect in this draft. Mm-hmm. And it took the buffoonery of the Cowboys taking a guard and the Bears taking, I know everybody loves Colston Loveland. If they could redo it, they would take Walter Nolen. The 49ers, they took a pass rusher that we liked. He's out for the year with an ACL. Walter Nolen was a top 10 pick. We had Mike Garofolo on the show, and I found this clip last night. Basically said that, we were asking about Walter Nolen. He's like, well, he could go to Carolina, where Tedero McMillan ended up going. Yeah. And that people thought that Mason Graham was a lesser prospect. Has anybody heard Mason Graham this year? Anybody called Mason Graham's name? That was an ass-kicking of epic proportions to come out on Monday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys with your debut and put that together. It's one game. And, of course, we'll caution everybody. It's one game. But you got to feel so good about that selection because last night was the first time, maybe in 3 years, that you could see the vision of what this Gannon-Rallis defense could be, not just with keeping them out of the end zone, but with the sacks and the takeaways. Yeah. Like they did a good job last year keeping teams out of the end zone, but the disruptiveness up front and the strips, which we're going to talk about around the break, I mean, it's a reason why if Jacoby Brissett can continue this, that you can see that the Cardinals are going to find their way to close some of these games out that they otherwise couldn't earlier this year.
Guys can go make their case about, Jacoby having success against the Dallas defense, which is one of the worst in the league. Walter Nolen and Nick Rallis in this Cardinals defense having success against this offense, that's nothing that you can discount.
No.
I mean, Dak, Javonte Williams has had a resurgence out of the backfield, even though, Cody Simon's screaming Javante's ass. And you've got those playmakers on the outside and CeeDee Lamb, how he can change the game. Jake Ferguson, who had an awful performance last night.
Terrible.
Can't deny that the Cardinals defense, it was overshadowed by a couple top storylines, but it shouldn't have been. It was why they won that game yesterday. One of our insiders with some insight as far as where Kyler Murray could land next, plus more takeaways from the Monday Night Football victory in Big D. It's all coming up here on PHNX Cardinals.
If you haven't hit that like button, what are you waiting for? I'll tell you what I'm waiting for. My money with our friends at Desert Financial. But in truth, I never have to wait because there's locations all throughout the Valley. Desert Financial is a financial institution. It's a staple of the Valley. And if you're an Arizona sports fan, there's no better place to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union. They've got a team of financial experts who are committed to their members, their community. They're offering financial solutions tailored to helping real-life people achieve their financial goals and dreams. Look to Desert Financial for checking, savings, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. Join a credit union that is committed to giving back to the community and sharing success with their members. Open up a free checking account online right now. You're going to get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200, Bo, to get started.
A way to build your savings, your checking account, is to save big at the pump and, of course, in America's Thirst Shop by becoming a member of the Inner Circle at Circle K. How about 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, 3 for $5 Gatorades. You got the visit once and save 10 cents per gallon. You also get 25 cents off per gallon for your first 5 fill-ups for this free membership account with Circle K, the Inner Circle right now. They got current promotions right now, like the meal deal matrices, $3 meal deals, $4 meal deals, $5 meal deals. It gets you 2 slices of pizza, 20-ounce soda, Polar Pop at 44 ounces. It's unreal, the savings you're going to get at Circle K. Don't delay any longer. Download the Circle K app. Sign up for the Inner Circle. And, of course, you got the terms and conditions that are going to apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for all the details.
Hit that like button. 700 people watching live. Let's get to 1,000 likes. And do us a favor. Consider becoming a member of the Supporters Club. Hit that join button. We get asked all the time, how can we support what you guys are doing here? You, Noah, Bo, on PHNX Cardinals, Britton Golden. Hit that join button. It's $5. You can become a member. We're going to have member-only content throughout the course of this year, and especially during draft season. And again, you get access to all the emojis. You get badges. And, of course, if you don't know already, the folks in the green, they're members already. We appreciate everybody right now. Let's see if we can get to a couple additional supporters before the end of the show. Before the show, our guy Benjamin Albright took to Twitter. He was on our show. It was probably about a month ago. It was before the Indianapolis Colts game. We had Benjamin Albright on to talk about, how the team could rally after Tennessee. If you recall, Benjamin Albright broke the news of Jonathan Gannon's interview on this show, and has always been a fan of JG and this regime, and kind of signaled to everybody that this relationship with Kyler Murray was likely coming to an end. And I think that took a lot of people by surprise. Well, Benjamin Albright took to Twitter today. Another friend of the program, Bo, let's check this out. Our guy Trevor Sickema of PFF jokingly put, after the big trades with Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, dopamine crashing, needed Kyler Murray to get traded to the Raiders at the buzzer for a good spike. And Albright swoops in like only he can and says, off-season East Coast. Bo, as we go into overtime.
Pew, 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 pew.
Here on PHNX Cardinals.
Big shout out, Bees, by the way, gifting a
you.
membership.
We appreciate you, brother.
Big baller status there.
What do you make of that?
Benjamin Albright. Now, guy has a lot of wins. He certainly does, right? He told us Genty was going to the Raiders. He told us this definitively back in February. You had draft dominoes that needed to move. Now, Raiders drafted Genty. He's told us a lot of things as far as like DeAndre Hopkins and numerous stories, like the Cardinals were going to rebuild their defensive front seven. That was going to be the approach this offseason, and they threw the kitchen sink at it. Free agent dollars, draft picks, they were not going to be stopped rebuilding this defensive front seven. He's hit on so many, and as you mentioned, he broke the news as far as Gannon interviewing with the Cardinals. That was right around interview session round 1. Right. That was one they missed out on, but he reported it, and then obviously we knew it became tampering situation. But it was there. There was proof that the Cardinals were interested before the Super Bowl. So Benjamin Albright, I seem to trust him. I know he had the running back thing. Michael Carter got released last week and then put back on the practice squad only to be elevated, but said RB incoming. Didn't sign anybody to the running back spot or make a trade last week. But I'm trusting Benjamin Albright's batting average here, and I think he's got sources around the league. And this would be a good thing for the Cardinals, as we talked about in the first segment. If they can find a taker, if they can find a trade partner for the Cardinals in Kyler Murray, that's the best case scenario at this point in the relationship.
Yeah, if you try to connect the dots, what team could it be? like the Jets come to mind, and I know they're selling players off right now, but they've shed a lot of cap. And listen, like they're going to be in position to take a quarterback. We don't know who's going to declare. They have 3 first-rounders in 2027. Maybe they wait to take a quarterback until 2027. I mean, Kyler Murray would make a lot of sense there.
Yeah.
You just think about, like, their offense is terrible. They need some star power. You know, Woody Johnson loves star power. You would have to be able to embrace the mindset of Kyler Murray, the uniqueness of him. But, like, I think he would do a lot for that fan base. I don't know how many wins they would win. And I don't love Kyler Murray in, you know, inclement weather at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But, like Justin Fields, they're going to cut Justin Fields after this season. They're going to have to eat that dead money. I mean, like, could the Cardinals take on Justin Fields, like, in return, just to be able to offset some of that? I don't know how that would work, but Fields got a 2-year deal. And you're not talking about letting Justin Fields play here, but just they're going to have to get creative. Like, they went out of the Justin Fields contract. Could you get a pick from them in return for Kyler Murray? I think that is a viable option. It's going to take some creativity. Other teams on the East Coast, like the Tua contracts barely kicked in. I think actually that's closer to the Russell Wilson scenario than the Kyler Murray, because Kyler really only has 1 year left of big-time guarantees. Then it becomes like voided years, option years. It's the contract itself is very manageable. Tua just signed his deal last year. Kyler Murray signed his deal with the first year Bo and I, this will show you our age, when we did this podcast in 2022. PHNX Cardinals have been around since 2021. Bo and I were doing a show in July, August of 2022. That's going to be almost 4 years when Kyler Murray gets traded. So that they've done their time, and Kyler's been compensated. Nobody in the NFC East. Maybe like, oh man, Jets, Steelers.
Right. I think Steelers would have to, with all that money they've invested on the defensive side of the football. I don't know if they could take on the contract. They would have to be in the form of.
Well, could Cardinals eat some of it for the pick? I that's where, like, I'm not a capologist. Like, I couldn't tell you, like, the financials of it. But here's what I do know. Kyler Murray's cut. What kind of contract is he signing? He's not signing a multi-year deal. He's probably signing a 1-year deal for about $20 to $25 million. That's probably closer to what teams look at him right now. And again, like Justin Fields making $20 million, got a 2-year deal. That's from the Jets. So there are anomalies. Teams can do that. But to me, it's like, if you can recoup a draft pick, you can eat some of that money. You can buy off some of that money, in my opinion.
Yeah, you certainly could. I mean, that's why it's the best scenario. You get the least of the dead cap going forward. If you can find a trade partner and find, you know, an opportunity for Kyler to go prove the organization wrong, instead of saying, well, we're going to pay you to go away and we're not going to get anything in return, like, that looks bad for all parties.
Right.
So
I mean, like, well, go ahead.
Yeah, the Steelers, the Jets, the Saints, I think, are still in that conversation.
Sure, yeah, that's another team where they win a couple more games. Maybe Kellen Moore's like, I don't want to go with a rookie. I don't love Tyler Shuck. Let's get Kyler in here in a dome. Maybe he could be our Baker Mayfield. That's a really good recommendation.
Right.
This is going to dominate.
I think Tennessee's not out of the question either.
Yeah, because they're going to have a new coach.
They're going to have a new coach, and Cam Ward's, even if he's able to find some sort of success between now and the end of the season, you know, I don't think there's a ton of confidence. Like, can he be the guy going forward? You get on that roster and you can have a very quick, you know, ascent to the starting quarterback job.
Here's the one positive that I think the Cardinals will have with this scenario, assuming that they can navigate this over the next couple of weeks. The best case scenario is for Jacoby Brissett to be undeniable, so it's not an indictment of Kyler Murray to the rest of the NFL. And you can put him on IR, and he can rest up. We're going to be on Radio Row in San Francisco talking to everybody about this. We will have an idea from the Benjamin Albrights to the, you know, Diana Rossini's who's been on our show before, Albert Breer. Does Kyler Murray have a market? Well, you look ahead to the free agent quarterbacks. Mac Jones is on a 2-year deal. There is no Sam Darnold that's suddenly going to become available. Kirk Cousins has a rag arm. He'll be cut. I don't think he's a viable option for people. Kyler Murray is probably going to be the best free agent / tradable quarterback available.
Yeah.
So that is where the Cardinals have an advantage. That's why it was a benefit to not rush into a deal today, even though I'm not sure how many takers they had to begin with. So we're going to cross our fingers that they're able to get something done because, listen, there's a quarterback shortage in the NFL, and you got to sell tickets, and you got to be in a position where your fan base is fired up. And Kyler Murray is an exciting player, and I think that's part of the reason why this is such a difficult day for a lot of us. Just we see the talent. He has immense talent. He is more talented than Jacoby Brissett. But for whatever reason, with this franchise, at this time, with this staff, it's just not adding up to the kind of production that they need or they want. And as a result, for a head coach and GM that didn't draft him, I mean, this is not the first time that a top quarterback moves on, right? A lot of the time it happens before the second contract. So it's going to dominate our show this offseason. No doubt about it.
I don't think MLB is an option as early as next year. It's just there's too much money on the table playing quarterback. You'd have to go ride buses in the minor league. I just don't think he'll be 28 going on 29. There's no reason like that. That's plan C, I think, for Kyler Murray. So, you guys have been crushing it as far as these chats all day, super chats, regular chat, supporter chat. Let's get into them, Johnny. We got close to 20.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack 199. Simply thank you for everything, Kyler Murray. 100%. I echo that. Kyler's been on the show. I was, semi-emotional watching his dad talk to us at his softball game. He wanted it to work out. And listen, it's just Bo and I think are able to, we're very fortunate we get to do this show every day, but just to separate like the production and the human side of things, I think is important. I'm a Kyler Murray guy. I'm disappointed it didn't work out, but I'm also like of the mindset, like sometimes people just need to change the scenery.
Absolutely. We've seen it. It's a tale as old as the league where new opportunities get the best out of some players. So yeah, absolutely. I'm with you, Jack. It's there's always going to be the what if. Just put them up, get the correct infrastructure, play calling. But then, when it lingers on, when you're still asking the question, what if, and you're facing pivotal seasons and you're seeing the offense not perform at a high level, at some point you just have to say, let's try something different. And the same thing goes for the player. But we appreciated his time. He was so nice and so generous to us last spring when we were able to jump in with his charity, which is great. Gives back not to just to veterans, but kids in need. So K1 Foundation will always be fans of that in the player. So keeping it going with Nick, $2. Can Walter Nolen play right tackle? Unfortunately not.
I wouldn't put it past him, but it's something we didn't even cover the trade deadline today. Cardinals made no moves. They didn't add a tackle. They didn't add a running back. I would love to see Jonah Williams be benched this week. I think that's a question for Gannon maybe later this week, Bo, or if they're thinking about making changes there. Jacoby Brissett's been great, but he can't do what he needs to do with the liability right now of Jonah Williams. The Cardinals are going to add a right tackle in free agency or the draft. That. Go find the equal to Paris if possible.
Yeah, your counterpart, your bookend. Arizona Cardinals chokes 199. What teams will want Kyler in the offseason? Kind of went through it there. I think Jets seem to be the leader in the clubhouse. Raiders seem to be a team on the radar.
Saints, maybe.
Yeah, Steelers, Saints. Somebody threw in the Rams if Stafford retires. Have you seen Stafford's numbers? They're unbelievable.
Stafford's not retiring. They're going to draft. The unfortunate part for the Cardinals is the fraud Falcons, who we knew this was a terrible move, traded up with the Rams last year. Rams got their first round pick. And now the Falcons are 3-5. The Rams are going to get an heir apparent to Stafford. They're not going to add a free agent quarterback. Here's the thing you got to be confident of, that you can't worry about what Kyler Murray does with his next team. You just got to be enough of, gusto as your franchise to be able to say, like, we're confident in what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We're confident in the team we're building. We're going to wish Kyler Murray well, but at the same time, it's like, that's why this Jacoby Brissett, situation is so damning, because it's just like, we're confident in Jacoby. He's our starter, right? Yeah. And they know it's like, if this falls through, then they're going to be put under a microscope. So I'm hoping that Kyler Murray can find a trade partner with this franchise, and they don't have to outright release him.
Libertarian Sasquatch, $1.99. Can't say I'm sad to see it end. Peace out, K1. There's a big part of the fan base, Johnny, that's also there.
There was an apathy that was significant. We'll always have the fact they were 6-4 last year and had this franchise reinvigorated. I mean, if they finished last year and they make the playoffs and they finish the job last year, everyone's extended. Kyler Murray's secure, but we look back now and the 2-5 stretch was the beginning of the end for Kyler Murray last year. It was.
Joey Kennedy, $1.99. Please don't send K1 somewhere impossible to root for.
The NFL's Baker Mayfield's made Tampa relevant. If Kyler Murray's a franchise quarterback, then he can rise above, a scenario. Maybe the Jets are just QB wasteland, though, so I don't know about that.
But they're harmless.
Yeah.
Jets, Jets. George Stice, $4.99. Glad to know you guys are choosing that bum Petzing over our franchise elite quarterback K1. Disappointing from you guys.
Listen, you can be disappointed. I'm disappointed in the Cardinals this year, so I think there's a lot of disappointment to go around. I still have the mindset that I would not renew Drew Petzing's contract. I've been consistent with my take, and Bo has as well. Like, Gannon and Austin Ford are under a microscope to win games. I think at minimum right now you're going to get an offensive reset this offseason. If Drew sustains with Jacoby, then all bets are off. But Kyler Murray has played elite at times. It's been a long time, though, George, since we've been able to call Kyler Murray an elite quarterback.
Ryan Walker, $5. I'm upset they couldn't give more. Another target. Marv, probably another target over 100 yards, and Buckeyes on the Cardinals balled out. We have a graphic about that, actually. We didn't get to. Let's see that.
Yeah. The Buckeye Showcase, Bo Brack.
Look at these guys.
Is that a good school? Good university?
Denzel Burke was fantastic last night. 6 solo tackles, a pick to seal the deal. 90.8 PFF grade. And he was going up against CeeDee Lamb. Marv, as you mentioned, 7 catches, 96 yards. He had the touchdown where, Deron Bland should retire after that. And then Paris, 0 sacks allowed, so good in pass pro. And then near 80 run block grade. Then Cody Simon made the game-saving play, forced the fumble on Javonte Williams, and had a great grade in relief of Mack Wilson while wearing the green dot. JG confirmed that today.
Imagine that. Surprise, surprise. You draft good players from good schools, even in the 5th round, and they play good in the NFL. They play well in the NFL. Play good is not a proper grammar. I tweeted this out this morning. Denzel Burke, they didn't need a corner in the 5th round. They had Will Johnson gifted to them. At that point, they hadn't lost Starling Thomas, Garrett Williams, and Max Melton, and Elijah Jones. They had a ton of corners they've invested in. And they sat there in the 5th round. They're like, oh, you know what? We respect this university. We have a pipeline to Ryan Day. These are the top recruited players, in the flipping country, and they play on the national stage, and they compete against the best college players. I think Denzel Burke in the 5th round can help us. It's like, oh, no shit. He comes out on Monday Night Football, and he D's up CeeDee Lamb on 4th down. That was more impressive than anything. He beat up CeeDee Lamb, ISO'd on 4th down, swatted the ball away. Max Melton leaves the game. It's like, Denzel Burke, whatever. I was a 5th round rookie, and other teams would kill. You got the Colts, who they've done a nice job this year, trading 2 1s for Sauce Gardner. I want to throw up in my shoe. The Cardinals are infinitely better run with adding corners. I mean, I what the Cardinals are doing, the corner is like the deepest position on the team.
Right. Ryan Walker, corrects himself. It was supposed to say Marv on my last super chat. LOL. Thanks, Ryan. Alphonse, $9.99, Johnny.
What we got here? Something tells me Brissett won't have games like this versus the Seahawks, Rams, and Niners. We'll see. Everyone going hysterical over the Cowboys. Fans will learn real soon about Brissett. He always fizzles out. I mean, like the Packers are a good defensive team. It's unbelievable. The unfortunate thing is I feel like people are rooting for that, and it's like I want to see Marv build on this and Trey McBride catch a bunch of Trey McBride has more touchdowns with Jacoby Brissett in 3 games than he did with Kyler Murray in 2 years.
You got Indy. It's given up 181 points on the season. And that's like right on par with, they've given up less points than the Niners. They've given up about as many points as the Bucs. Yeah, I mean, like they're not a turnstile defensively. So, I mean, Colts, Packers, they're not world beaters, but like every quarterback that's faced the Seahawks has struggled. Like we expect there's going to be struggles from Jacoby Brissett, but can he continue to make plays? Like if he still has, if they can find some explosives in this game, they should have a chance. Summix, $4.99. I'm okay with moving on from Kyler as long as Petzing is also gone. Jacoby is not a multi-season solution I want to see. I agree with the latter there. And we'll see about Petzing. Like, do you have a bunch of qualms about how Petzing's called the game the last 3 weeks?
I didn't love his 4th quarter last night. Now, here's what I will say. Drew Petzing isn't blocking at right tackle. They're missing a couple running backs.
The Jonah thing, I think, is a big issue.
It's a huge. I mean, Jonah is killing drives for them with his terrible play, just horrendous play now.
But the Jonah, I mean, from the standpoint of against Micah Parsons, that was a big.
Yes, that's a problem from Drew. Yeah. I said, I think the Cardinals are best served playing well, and if that means Drew's retained, so be it. I'm not going to root against the Cardinals because I want to change at OC.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. If the Cardinals keep this up for 9 more games, he's keeping his job. But if they don't, or if it's middling and they kind of go up and down, fresh start, new OC, new quarterback in the draft, go through. I mean, like, I think this team, if they take a first-round quarterback, this team could be in a position to play a first-round quarterback next year. Like, the roster is good. Like, look at last night. The Cardinals are infinitely deeper than the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
I think they have a better line of scrimmage on both sides. Okay. I don't think they're as well coached up front on their O-line with they're missing Clayton Adams. They have a better secondary, infinitely. Mm-hmm. Like Dallas has CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, right? But like Trey, Marv, outside of quarterback, Cardinals are a better team than Dallas. So like you push the right buttons this offseason, like you're going to be able to prop up a rookie quarterback or Jacoby. I mean, we got a long way to go, but I think the safe move for Gannon is to say because he's going to have to sell this to fans, assuming they don't go on a run to the postseason. What's the buy-in for he and I? If they finish in 4th place in the division, somebody's got to go.
Yeah.
Right, Bo? I mean, there's somebody. Yeah. We could be Sunday. The other shoe could drop for Drew, and we could be like, it's done.
And what's that going to do? Like between Black Monday in March when you're trying to pull off a deal and it's like, no, we're all sticking around, but we're trying to move one guy. Like it's going to be addition by subtraction here. Like that's a bad bluff. That's a telltale sign. Joey Kennedy, $4.99.
Great point by you.
A lot of drama could have been avoided not playing the active-inactive game with Kyler last month. I agree. We've said that before. I think that the transparency, not just with the quarterback position, but with other injuries on the team, it was going to come down to Jacoby, though. as we look back and use hindsight as 2020, that they needed to have more than just a sample size to kind of shut things down and keep Jacoby a QB1 and keep Kyler sidelined. But I mean, today it seemed like there was some levity there after Gannon made that announcement, and he said he wanted clarity, and now you've got clarity for the entire week.
I think more is going to emerge this offseason about what happened.
Sure.
We might be able to talk about some additional things. But, you know, I'm giving Gannon a little bit of grace because this is unprecedented, and he's a relationship guy, maybe to a fault, because he's stuck with Drew and the situation with like in hindsight, like the Seahawks made the right decision this offseason. The Cardinals did not. And like Gannon's going to have to wear that. That's another reason why I don't think Drew is sticking around. It's like, come on. We just saw the Seahawks be aggressive. You got the Cardinals opted to double down with Kyler and Drew, and it hadn't worked, doesn't work out. Were you going to do it again? You can't. And to your point, which is really well said, you can't go to opposing teams and be like, it's just Kyler, but do you want him? Give us a pick for him.
Libertarian Sasquatch is back. $4.99 Cardinals need to take a page from the Giants. Take a right tackle with your first and trade up for a quarterback later in the draft. Brissett ain't it long term.
I agree with that. Love that. I think the Cardinals, I mean, let's see how many games they win, where they're going to be positioned in the draft. It's going to be an offensive draft, though. Like this draft class from last year, we're going to highlight on tomorrow's show, is a defensive godsend with potentially 4 future starters on it. You need to have the equivalent of that on the offensive side this year. Now, it's easier said than done, but we'll see if they can pull it off. Jonathan, $4.99. What was a higher possibility? Draft a QB in round 1 or trade for a veteran, proven quarterback? I think, depending on how Jacoby plays, I mean, like, who are you trading for? Who's available? Like, Jacoby's playing as well, if not better, than Mac Jones the last 3 weeks. I mean, you're getting more production. Jacoby is under contract, and Gannon and Austin Ford are going to remain. Jacoby will be their offseason quarterback. Like, could they add another guy to the mix? Sure, they could. But they're also going to be having dead money in some form from Kyler Murray's contract, whether the outright release or a partial from a trade. The best course of action is Jacoby Brissett with a rookie, a serious rookie, not a flyer guy, Joe Blow between pick 75 and 150. Like, they need to be aggressive and get a quarterback that can come in and either is ready to play or is close to ready to play, because I'm with everybody. As much as, like, I want to see more Jacoby and see what this could turn into, Bo and I are realistic here. Like, it's more likely Jacoby Brissett is going to go back to the mean at some point.
Right. AZ Moses, 89. In my opinion, I'm more impressed and excited about the thought of this defense at full strength. Jacoby manning the offense. Walter Nolen was such a sight to see.
They got to keep it up. What was the number one thing we talked about last week outside of what was going on with Kyler? If Gannon wants to stick around, you have to be able to have proof for Michael Bidwell to say, like, look what we're building. Well, now suddenly you can say Walter, right? And he courted Sweaty J here. Cody Simon behind Mac Wilson Sr. All the corners are studs and they're young, right? And like Marv now suddenly, it looks like, you know, what we hoped he would be. Those are all things that they can sell to Bidwell. I'm going to call out Jalen Can't Guard Jay on Twitter. And he's got, he goes, with a new quarterback in 26-27, Cardinals have foundational pieces. Here are players just under 30 that should have a role. Paris is 24. Marv is 23. Michael Wilson's 25. Trey is 25. Trey Benson's 23. You probably add it back. Yelda Froholt's 29. Isaiah Adams could return. Tip Ryman, obviously. Then you've got Walter Nolen's 22. Darius Robinson. Dante Stills is 25. Sweat's 28. Baron Browning's 25. Mac Wilson is 27. Will Johnson's 21. Garrett Williams is 24. Max Melton's 23. Denzel Burke is 23. So it's like, it's a young team.
Yeah.
And you just show that to Michael Bidwell, and it's like, these guys are just starting to emerge. That is something, all those names, that's something Keim could never do.
No, and like last night was such a big night for the 25 class that we've been waiting for them to emerge, and so many guys making plays. Johnson, Simon, Nolen.
Yeah.
Alphonse, $9.99. Please go through weeks 1 through 5. Why are we ignoring the play calling those games, the penalties, the offensive line play, etc.? K1 didn't get a chance to play with this opened up offense. We've been begging for this style all season. I don't disagree with that.
Correct.
But you were 2-5 going into last night. The best version of the offense has been with Jacoby in the lineup, and you can't F around at this point in the season. You can't go play experimental, quarterback any longer, especially with a guy at this stage in his career with this organization. It's just, I think we should know a lot of things by now. We did see him at the end of the Seattle game open things up, and that looked good. And we saw it at the beginning of the Titans game. But there's no denying they can't run the play action in the same amount that they want with Kyler that they do with Jacoby. They think that sets up some conflict in the defense, and it's been opening things up downfield without a run game, which is great.
I'm going to say something that's probably unpopular too, and it's just I think you're seeing it with Bryce Young, even though the Panthers are above 500. We saw it with Tua, and now Kyler is – we went through a period where Russell Wilson – and then Kyler, especially with his athletic ability, the league began a trend of, well, the smaller quarterbacks, it'll translate to the NFL easier.
Right.
The league is kind of turning on that.
Right.
We don't see them succeeding like they once did. And you're seeing more teams now want to go back to not a traditional pocket passer, but somebody who can operate within the confines of the pocket. Yeah. Kyler Murray, and we had Albright break this down, I think, really well a month ago. Go check out our interview with him. Kyler Murray, like Russell in his heyday, really excelled outside the pocket. You have to wonder, have defenses caught up to that? It doesn't mean Kyler Murray is an unplayable quarterback, but you talk about that ceiling.
Yeah.
I also think it's fair to suggest that maybe Drew doesn't have the acumen to be able to put the kind of offense needed to support Kyler around him. No one has argued that Cliff Kingsbury versus Drew as a play caller, right? That's Cliff Kingsbury didn't get fired here because of his play calling necessarily. I mean, can he lead a franchise? It's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Luke with a very aggressive super chat here, Bo.
Yeah, respectfully.
Yeah.
F you to anyone who doesn't think K1 should be QB2. 9 games left to win. Don't settle. 9 games left to win. Don't settle. Win now.
If you're Jonathan Gannon, you want to put your house on the market, you're Monty Ossenford. You want to go back to being a, assistant GM, scout. You want to try to be able to fulfill this. I can't imagine how difficult it is for them to be able to navigate this with the emotions of 53 adult men, multimillionaires. This is tough. This is tough stuff, man.
Yeah.
But the best, Jacoby is making this easier for them. And I hope he continues to do so.
Easy money Chubbs with back-to-back super chats. $1.99 Johnny Piss Missiles Venerable, and then K1 to the Jets for 2 firsts and a right tackle.
They got the ammo now.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Were they shedding cap for K1? I almost put that out there on Twitter today just for fun, and I thought that's a bad idea. Charlie Sinclair.
Yeah.
Props up. They Chargers. Charlie's a resident Charger fan. They traded for Trevor Penning for a ham sandwich. I saw today. So no Joe Alt right now. $4.99. Kyler going to be a Raider. 97-year-old Pete don't want to start over. Geno Smith threw 4 touchdown passes last weekend. I know our fan base would probably disagree, but people around the NFL probably view Kyler and Geno probably very similar.
Tribe 7. $2. Hopefully we draft a quarterback. Lenore Sellers, hopefully.
You just want to see guys declare.
Yeah.
I started somebody over the weekend who thinks Sam Levitt could still come out.
Yeah. I was just reading Fran Duffy's breakdown of the injury and how it impacts Levitt. Levitt's still under 20 starts in his collegiate career. Not a whole lot of first rounders that started that little without a ton of hardware. Kyler Murray's one of them. Mitchell Trubisky's another one, just 13 starts, but
Yikes.
it doesn't happen a lot. So Levitt, would he benefit from going back to school?
Money talks. Lamar, $5. What have to happen for the Cardinals to keep Kyler Murray for another year? It's a great question. It's a question we haven't entertained.
Right. Yeah. Just saying.
Oh, you want to take a crack at this?
What would it take? I think it would take probably Jacoby getting injured and him being the only option and absolutely just balling out like 2021 style. And say, like the Bryce Young benching and then come back, but better numbers than Bryce Young. Like Bryce Young's numbers were actually pretty pedestrian coming back. He was just so bad.
I'm with Digital Dust. I'll trump you. I think he'd have to win a playoff game because I think they would use Kyler Murray playing well at the end of the year to up his trade value. I think they'd be like, oh yeah, Kyler's good again. Trade.
Yeah.
Reezy baby, under the gun here, $5. We put 27 on a Cowboys team who gives up 32 on average. I agree with this. And everyone acting like Brissett is prime Brady. I don't really like Drew Petzing. I think it was more of an indictment of Petzing and then especially Jonah Williams.
Yeah.
Like they had drives where it was like if he didn't have any opportunity to even throw a pass.
Right.
Like Jacoby Brissett was hit immediately like on his 5 to 7 step drop. Like I'm going to put it on Gannon here pretty soon if they don't bench Jonah Williams. Like what's Josh Fryer look like in practice, Bo? Can he get out there? All the Ohio State players are playing well. Can we throw Fryer out there for a possession?
I just haven't seen Fryer since training camp in 11s or anything. He's just out there hitting sleds and working out. How about this nice, generous super chat from Eric Madrid? Thank you, Eric. $19.99. Love watching you guys, even though the lows from this team. I'm this channel. This is Kyler's last year. Predicted this at the beginning of the season.
Well, first of all, that's very kind. Thank you for the support. We love doing it. And I mean, today it was like we thought Super Bowl after last night. Finally got to just talk. I'm sick of talking about losing in this team. I was so
50 days, right? Is
I
that
know
what the number got to?
So I'm happy. Like we would probably spend most of the show talking about the performance of the youth on this team. We'll highlight that throughout the rest of the week. So I think Kyler Murray, what will his legacy be? We'll have all offseason to talk about it. But I hope this doesn't get ugly. I hope there's not a point where this gets ugly and there's stuff being kind of slung. I have heard Kyler Murray has immense amount of respect for Jonathan Gannon, though.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they can find a mutual parting of ways that leaves everybody content. Because if I'm Kyler Murray too, it's like, hey man, like I feel like I can still play. Let me go ball out for another team. Let me go to a team with low expectations and surprise people. There's an avenue where this works out for everybody, I think.
Yeah. Speedy, what is it? Speedy Josh 6, 3 of Jacoby's sacks. Kyler would have ran for 20 yards. But here's the other thing. Like 3 of the third downs that Jacoby passed for a first down, Kyler would have checked down.
I mean, Jacoby had that conversion against the Colts, and it was the Cardinals' longest conversion, like half a decade or whatever.
Yeah.
And he did it in one game. The upside with the passing game is just you're never out of it with a drive now. Whereas it felt like, unfortunately, with Kyler and Drew, the combination, you felt like drives were over any kind of negative play. We're like 3rd and 10 last night after they got that stop with that first possession with Dallas. 3rd and 10, it's like, let me just rifle this piss missile to Marv. Let me go right back on 3rd down after that, right? Because the run game come back to Marv.
Yeah.
It's just like, feel good about that. I mean, he may have skipped a couple balls, but like there haven't been too many like errant throws where it's like, we almost got picked off there.
Right.
I think we've got selective memory. Kyler had a couple of those earlier this year where it was like, where was that one going?
Right.
So, and you cannot deny.
There haven't been those miscommunications.
Yeah, so it's just about to say, you can't deny the miscommunication.
I'm not trying to pile on it. I'm just I think there's just been a stark difference.
It was just time. It's just time.
Yeah. Johnny Piss Missile Venerable back at it again. No doubt about it. And look, you don't have to take our word for it much more beyond this show because tomorrow, the Hall of Famer, Kurt Warner, he joins the show.
Oh.
We flew back together from Dallas. No big deal.
Did you speak to him?
I didn't. I didn't. I
So
was
basically, you were a stranger.
But we're friends. We're friends.
Well,
I'll probably tell him about it tomorrow, and he'll be
that'll
like,
be uncomfortable. Please don't do that.
He'll be like, either you're a weirdo and my time on this show is done, or he'll be like, why didn't you just come over? Why don't you just come over? We'll make up for it. We'll have drinks over at my place.
I don't think any of that's going to happen. You should have brought he has an aisle seat in first class, and you just sneak up with your laptop, and you're like, Kurt, I got the all 22 right here. You want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Kurt is a sicko in the best way. He probably would have appeased you. I mean, like,
dude, when I got here, I'll give this little nugget. When I boarded the plane, because we sit in different spots in the plane, believe it or not, guy was watching film. He had his iPad open. He was already deep.
You have to tell him that you were creeping and you caught him.
I mean, it was everybody could see it. He was watching some Rams tape. I see this from Josh. K1 till I die, fellas. Look, I'm going to follow Kyler beyond the Cardinals. Absolutely. And I'm going to root for him.
Yeah. I root for all ex-Cardinals that aren't Isaiah Simmons and some other players. Like Christian Kirk and Anquan Bolden. I mean, there have been so many ex-Cardinals. My hope is that one day Kyler Murray can return to Arizona with positive vibes, and both Kyler and the Cardinals have mutual success. But at the end of the day, Gannon and Austin Ford always had the trump card, and it's being reinforced now with Jacoby Brissett's play that wasn't the guy they drafted. And from the minute Bo and I did the contract show, what came out over the next couple of days was the clause that he had a homework clause, and that was inadvertently put in there by Michael Bidwell. And you always just kind of felt like this has an expiration date. And honestly, Kyler Murray's lasted longer than I thought based on his injury. Most Cardinal players end up seeing a lot of their contract for the most part. Jalen Thompson's going to play out his whole contract. James Conner just did. So the Cardinals are probably more patient than we give them credit for, but it's just the time is now for Jacoby Brissett to hopefully keep this going and try to keep this team relevant. Please, football gods. That's what we want.
It's been a banner show. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. Of course, we're still looking for that like goal of 1,000.
Yep.
You guys crushed it. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you, Reezy, for gifting another supporter membership. You guys are crushing it. We're the best in all cities as far as supporters. We take a lot of pride in that. You guys make that all possible. Barring any other, of course, breaking news, I don't think we will with the trade line in the rearview mirror and QB1 at least solidified for this week. I think we'll get through a Tuesday night rather quietly and get to a Kurt Warner Wednesday, here on PHNX Cardinals. For Johnny and Noah, I'm Bo. We'll talk to you then. PHNX Cards.
We all silly like the mayor.